So, if you put an air rifle together backwards, will a pellet still come out the front? Welcome back to Canacare. This is, once again, the Crosman Vantage NP that I just recently refurbished and cleaned up and got working again. And a couple of viewers pointed out that I may have put the piston in, the gas piston in backwards. So I looked at the parts diagram, and yes, indeed, it does show the pointy part of the gas ram going into the piston first. And yet, when I took the gun apart initially, the fat part was up front. So something's obviously wrong there. Either this gun was taken apart some point in its history and put back together wrong. Maybe it was done on purpose, maybe by accident. Or, at the factory, it was put in the other way around. I'm going to bet dollars to donuts that I think the latter is true. I think somehow this came out of the factory with the fat part of the piston up front. That could have been intentional. Again, could have been just accidental. Somebody assembling things incorrectly. So the question is that, does it make a difference? This gun went together okay and shot okay. Actually shot pretty well, I thought. So, but the question is that, would it be better if I put it in the other way around? So I have to know the answer to that. I really do. So I'm going to take it all apart again and swap the pieces around, and if I'm lucky, I won't have to disturb too many other things on it. It should be a fairly quick fix, and then we can test it again and see if it performs any differently. Yeah, let's find out. Okay, so I don't have to actually take the scope off, but I'm going to, because I think it'll be a little bit easier to get it out of the way. Besides, the scope is due to be replaced anyway, I think. When I say that, there's one of the optics inside. It has a little bit of a weird mark in it. Could be a chip in the glass or something, I don't know. Didn't seem to stop it from working all right. Alright, that's out of the way. I'm just going to drop it right out of the stock. So I shouldn't have to remove the barrel. Get some residue from the stock on the piston there. Yeah, some residue from the stock refinishing. Okay, get that out of the way. If I'm lucky, I won't have to remove the trigger pack. Okay, so the parts diagram says this part goes in that way. Question is, does it really make any difference? Does it make a difference? So the point would be is that it's just a spring after all, just with nitrogen in it instead of metal coils. So forces are going to be equal in every direction. Newton would definitely argue that, yeah, forces are going to be equal. But the difference, if there is one, is that one part of this may be heavier than the other. And logically, this part looks bigger and fatter, and there should be heavier than this. However, this is a solid steel rod, I do believe, and this, of course, is hollow. So where is the center of gravity or balance on this thing? Okay, that's heavy. Feels like the balance point is right about here, just a few millimeters away from this little spring clip here, which purpose of which I do not understand. But okay, so on this side of our mark we have, if I did it in inches and millimeters, here we go. Looks like even 13 centimeters, 130 millimeters from there to there. And this end, it's almost the same. Okay. Alright. Well, there goes the theory. I thought maybe the heftier part of the mechanism burrowed inside the gun's piston would make for a heavier mass, moving mass that way, and therefore that might benefit heavier pellets, because tuners often put weights inside their piston so that the piston doesn't bounce off its cushion of air prematurely when it's hitting up against the resistance of a heavier pellet. They put the extra weight in there so it's a bit more heft behind it. So anyway, okay, so I thought that would do it. All right, so let's just put it in this way. Is that all the way down? That's better. Okay. And that goes in this way. And this goes in here. Now I'm going to just take it to the vise and move that over using my punch so I can get the screw in. Okay, so I think I have my answer. This was meant to go in this way all along. It came that way from the factory on purpose. This little rounded end here fits neatly inside this back part of the gun. This flat surface here butts up against there, and it means it's about a little bit too long for it to be easily compressed inside the piston. It looks to me that they did this on purpose. This curved surface in here meshes perfectly with that, and it centers it up nicely. That was intentional. So this piston does go in this way. I'll put it back together again, and that'll be that. So here it is, all back together again. Well, I think I've satisfied myself that the way I took the gun apart with the fat end of the piston in first is the way it came from the factory. And I think I answered my own question when I tried to figure out why that might be. When I first put the piston in the other way with the skinny end forward, I had to shake the rifle a little bit to get it to seat down properly. It was sticking. And I think at the factory that would take a few seconds per rifle all day long. And I think after they made the first 1,000 rifles, somebody said, you know what, it'd be easier if you put the fat end in first. And I think that's why this little the recess is drilled in the back of this part right here. It all goes together really easily. And you can argue whether it's right or wrong, or whether that matches the parts diagram, but that's the way they did it, and I think it just comes down to manufacturing efficiency. Does it make a difference? I doubt it, because the piston is pretty much even Steven back to front. There's no extra weight up front, there's no less weight up front, so the gun's going to perform pretty much the same way. At least I'm pretty certain it will. Anyhow, if you remember in part 1, I talked about how this gun was billed with its nitro piston as being a 1,000 foot per second rifle, and of course you seldom see an air rifle of this size and weight able to perform like that. and most likely it never did. The 1,000 feet per second with regular pellets, well, as we saw, this one was getting 805 feet per second out of an 8.2 grain pellet. These are 7 grain domes. Maybe they go a little bit faster, but they're not going to go 1,000 feet per second. But we might be able to coax some serious speed out of these plastic skirted pellets, because these little beasties only weigh in at, I think these ones are 5.9 grains on those ones. Okay, I thought I saw some at 5.6. Maybe they do vary a little bit. Yeah, that one's only 5.6. Okay, so a little bit of weight variation there. And these ones here are Prometheus ones, and 4.4 grains, so very, very light pellets. We might get some serious speed out of those. Downside of these things is that I have not yet found anything that will shoot these straight. They just fly all over the darn place. But anyway, let's give them a try with the chronograph. First up, I'm just going to repeat our baseline, just to make sure the gun is still shooting these QISs out at around about 800 and something feet per second. .864. Wow, that's fast. We did give it a lot of exercise at the range. Didn't chronograph it after that. .865. Well, that's consistent. Don't believe there's any diesel or anything. We didn't get any lubricants in that chamber. .866. So there you go. We're in the 860s now, with the same pellets we were shooting the other day at 805. So we just gained another 50, 60 feet per second. Awesome. Okay. And the gun's no harder to cock. Actually, it might even be a little bit smoother. So these 7 grain dome pellets, that's loud, 927. Oh, I do have some tin pellets around somewhere. 967. Well, that is edging close to that 1,000 feet per second, isn't it? .955. So yeah, 950s, 960s. Pretty cool. Let's see if I get some tin pellets. Okay, it looks like I do have a few left. These are Stoeger lead-free pellets. They're not the fanciest ones out there, but they are a tin alloy. 5.4 grains. They'll go fast. Let's give a couple of shots of those. See what we can do. Bit of a tight fit in the barrel because they're not soft as lead. 1049. We broke that 1,000 feet per second barrier. .1067. Yeah, a little loud there. Bit of a flirting with the sound barrier, and inside indoors, that's not a lot of fun. Okay, so let's try the these ones weigh about the same, don't they? So let's see what we can do here. .1035. Yeah, almost as fast. 1039. So not as fast as the alloy pellet, but not bad. Okay, now we'll try a couple of these ones, just for fun. Wow, that's loud. 1135. Doesn't sound as loud over the camera. The camera microphone's automatically, sort of almost automatically mute. But yeah, there's definite crack. 1046. Oh, 1146. So yeah, that's supersonic territory. So yeah, can you get 1,000 feet per second out of an air rifle like this? Turns out you can. Yeah, you got to resort to some extraordinary measures. The regular pellets you buy at the hardware store are not going to do it, but go for more exotic stuff, you can get there. Okay. Well, thanks for coming for the ride. Thanks for the suggestions and the inspiration to give this rifle another look and see if I did it right or not. I'm pretty certain I did. But anyway, keep the comments coming, and thanks for watching. Kinda Care will return with some more fun stuff, I'm sure, and consider subscribing.